who is reportedly off to a record-breaking fundraising start in his campaign.
Empire couldn't pay, many of these so-called allies turned their swords on Rome, or simply walked away. That's how you go from a superpower to rubble. Not because you were not diverse enough, but because you lost unity, purpose, and loyalty. Does that sound familiar? Today our leaders brag about building rainbow coalitions in uniform. They want us to believe pronouns, quotas, and social engineering make us stronger, but a military divided by identity politics is not stronger, it's weaker, just like Rome. The truth is simple. Strength comes from unity, not division. Victory comes from discipline, not diversity checklists. And survival comes from soldiers who believe in one nation, one flag, and one mission. Rome forgot that lesson, and the empire crumbled. America better remember it before it's too late. I'm James Sierra with Black Information Network.
Celebrating 5 years of building a stronger community.
The Black Information Network.
DFW's BIS.
From Oak Cliff to Uptown.
Here's what's trending this hour. An upcoming Chris Brown concert scheduled at Memphis, Tennessee has been canceled. Ticketmaster posted a cancellation notice Saturday for the upcoming October 18th show. The show was set to take place at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. The reason? Notice cited logistical production-related issues. OU Group, which helped promote the event, issued a statement confirming all ticket holders will be refunded. I'm Misty Jordan, and that's what's trending.
Sports on the Black Information Network. The WNBA Finals and Major League Baseball playoffs continue this weekend. The AL and NL Division Series get underway with the Tigers versus the Mariners. The Yankees will take on the Blue Jays. The Cubs and Brewers will clash, and the Dodgers go head-to-head with the Phillies. In the W, the Las Vegas Aces and Phoenix Mercury will play the best of 7 for the championship. All of this as head coaches Cheryl Reeve, Becky Hammond, and Stephanie White question the officiating in the playoffs.
And this is the low there for some reason, but I want to call for a change of leadership.
New details are emerging from the NBA investigation into the Los Angeles Clippers. Owner Steve Ballmer and star Kawhi Leonard. Recent reports show Ballmer Clippers invested $118 million in the now bankrupt company Aspiration. The Clippers say their investments were part of carbon offset initiatives and denied any wrongdoing. Here's Kawhi Leonard. Your support at 14 and 44 past each and every hour. I'm Ray Harris on the Black Information Network. Our news all time.
The Black Information Network. DFW's BIS.
Big D, big stories.
DFW's BIN 970 and 1630 is powered in partnership with Direct Relief and Chevy. Thank you for partnering with a purpose on the Black Information Network.
Find your iHeartRadio everywhere. There are hundreds of ways to experience iHeartRadio at home and on the go. Be on the iPhone and Android app and at iHeartRadio.com. Here's another way to connect to iHeartRadio. Apple CarPlay. Our iOS app comes alive in your car's dashboard with a seamless way to play your favorite music, radio stations, and podcasts. Developed with driver safety in mind, the Apple CarPlay interface was built for simple navigation and to limit driver distraction while making sure that you can still access all your favorite content from iHeartRadio. No need to download another app, just plug or pair your iPhone with your dash, and if CarPlay is available in your vehicle, iHeartRadio will sync automatically. iHeartRadio, everywhere you want to listen, included in your car through Apple's CarPlay. Check it out for free now. iHeartRadio, anywhere you want to listen, iHeartRadio is there.
Entertainment news on the Black Information Network.
Chauncey Combs has been sentenced to just over 4 years. Combs was found guilty on 2 prostitution-related charges in July. Prosecutors called for Combs to get at least 11 months in prison, while defense lawyers said the maximum should be 14 months. He was acquitted of the racketeering and prostitution counts. City is also being fined $500,000 and will be on supervised release for 5 years once he leaves prison. This comes after a long day in court. Supporters of Combs were both outside and inside the courthouse as his family sat front row for sentencing. His mother was among the first family members to arrive, and his children and the mothers of his children were there for support. As he spoke and victim impact statements were read. Elsewhere, actor and singer Tyrese Gibson is facing legal trouble after being booked on a cruelty to animals charge in Atlanta on Friday. Police say his cane Corso fatally mauled a neighbor's Cavalier King Charles Spaniel during an incident on September 18th. The actor has been released on a $20,000 bond. Gibson says the dog has been housed and he is
historically black sorority, Delta Sigma Theta. One of her early career highlights was playing a role in launching the Bakersfield Jam of the NBA G League. And just before joining DC United, she was president and COO of the Los Angeles Sparks. As if running one of the most storied clubs in MLS history isn't enough, Johnson also finds time to give back as a board member of the Share Winter Foundation, which aims to build youth participation in winter sports. She's also involved in the Boys and Girls Club of America, a member of the Rotary International, and a mentor with the Wise Within program. Johnson stands as an inspiration for black leadership in the realm of sports and beyond, making Danita Johnson another name you should know. I'm Weston Tishon for the Black Information Network.
I'm Mike Moore.
And I'm Nicole Deal on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Fire survivors and local organizations are calling on State Attorney General Ron Bonta to investigate Los Angeles County's response to January's fire, citing delays in evacuation orders for Western Altadena. Shauna Dawson here, an organizer with the Beautiful Altadena Community Group and a total loss fire survivor, joined the call.
It's completely overlooking the black and brown voices of West Altadena who are not evacuated. It completely leaves out all of the 911 call reports, the data that came in saying that the fire was being tracked via satellite, but it's ignoring actual human accounts.
Los Angeles County supervisors acknowledge frustration with omissions in the report and approved a motion to implement recommendations immediately. According to Data USA, 17.6% of Altadena residents identify as Black or African American.
Congressman Benny Thompson is expressing disappointment over the government shutdown, emphasizing its potential to worsen existing struggles within the government and impact health care access.
The Black congressman highlighted concerns about the impact of federal budget cuts and a potential closure of hospitals in rural areas. Benny Thompson stressed the importance of maintaining access to health care for all Americans, particularly in his district in Mississippi, which is medically underserved. Thompson urged for a quick resolution to the shutdown, emphasizing the importance of health care access for all citizens. He remains hopeful that Republicans and Democrats will be able to reach a resolution soon. I'm Morgan Wood with the Black Information Network.
Black media mogul Sean Diddy Coates' ex-girlfriend, Virginia Gina Hunn, is revealing prosecutors pressured her to claim she was a victim in his federal sex trafficking case despite her denials. In a letter to the judge, Gina stated she cooperated with authorities but was pushed to say she was trafficked and forced into prostitution by Diddy. She maintains that she was never a victim and never engaged in prostitution. Gina Hunn was willing to testify but was not called.
An update now on a story we reported on earlier out of Jacksonville, Florida, the Prince Holland murder trial. Holland, a 13-year-old black teen, was shot to death in 2022 while he sat in a car. In day 2 of the trial, jurors heard testimony from a teenage shooting survivor who was in the car with Holland.
And then once I looked up, it was like the windshield was just blurry a little bit.
What did you notice in regards to your own body?
I had it was like spitting. It was just like very hard breathing.
Travius Garrard and Marcel Johnson, who are black, face first-degree murder charges in connection with Holland's death. They have separate juries in their combined trial. And finally, Atlanta, Georgia native and fashion designer Annie Moore, who is black, celebrated her 106th birthday with staff at A.G. Rhodes Nursing Home, where she's a resident. A graduate of Spelman College, Moore is the oldest living alumni and had a successful career as a fashion designer, with her work being featured in Vogue in 1953. I'm Mike Moore, along with Nicole Deal on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Bringing you the stories that matter.
4 people now have organs from a 13-year-old black boy, Sanjay Samuel, who was shot in the head last week on his way to school in Queens, New York. 24/7.
When Texans go to the ballot box in November, they'll be voting on a proposed constitutional amendment that would allow judges to deny bail to more defendants.
If it's important to the black community,
You told me about 1 weekend where there was at least 9 weapons stolen out of vehicles.
On the Black Information Network.
Earlier this hour, we found out home equity loans and home equity lines of credit. And with both, your home is used as collateral and can be line of credit both offer flexible borrowing options, but they do serve different financial needs. A HELOC uses your home as collateral and typically offers lower interest rates, making it better for large expenses like renovations or debt consolidation. Meanwhile, credit cards are more accessible and unsecured. However, they often carry higher interest rates. So, depending on your situation, a credit card may be more ideal for short-term purchases or emergencies. HELOCs may have closing costs and variable rates, while credit cards offer rewards and easier approval. Choosing between the two depends on profile and whether you are comfortable using the equity in your home as collateral. Money news at 24 and 54 minutes past each hour. I'm Nicole Deal on your home for Black News First, the Black Information Network.
Celebrating 5 years of dedicated reporting.
The Black Information Network,
DFWBIN.
where DFW News hits home.
I'm Nicole Deal.
And I'm Mike Moore on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
The partial government shutdown continues, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who is Black, says Democrats will not budge over their demands for health care funding.
Our position is cancel the cuts, lower the cost, save healthcare. And that has to be done at this moment in time in the context of this unprecedented Republican assault on healthcare of the American people.
And comments come after President Donald Trump said he would use the shutdown to decide which Democratic agencies to close. Democrats are calling on Republicans in Congress to restore funding and protections to Medicaid and Obamacare.
A teacher in Long Beach, California, investigated for allegedly sending a racist image on a group text back in May.
The image reportedly shows a black child with an ankle monitor. It was apparently shared among several people who were part of the teachers' union. The words next to the picture reportedly read, "We need this for our runners." Runners is a derogatory term for special needs kids who wander away. 5 months later, the teachers are just being placed on administrative leave. I'm Mike Eisen on the Black Information Network.
Well, you just heard about a racist image in California. Now, we move on to a custodian in St. Charles, Missouri, accused of writing racist graffiti at a high school. I'll say Tyler Carter, who is white, wrote racial slurs and references to sexual violence in bathrooms and foreign language classrooms at Francis Howell High School. In September, he reportedly told officers he did it because he was tired of cleaning graffiti that he believed was left by black students. Carter was recently arrested and faces multiple charges.
Maryland's Black Governor Wes Moore is reminding workers that the state has posted a list of resources to help those impacted by the federal government shutdown. The governor says the GOP-led shutdown disproportionately harms federal workers in Maryland, many who are black. Employees can head to the state's website to find information regarding unemployment insurance and other financial, utility, housing, and veteran resources. I'm Nicole Deal, along with Mike Moore, on your home for Black News First, the Black Information Network. Your Healthy Minute is next.
Sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, is the leading cause of death among infants. There are ways to help reduce the risk of SIDS and other sleep-related causes of infant death. Always put babies to sleep on their backs during every sleep time. Lay babies to sleep on a firm sleep surface covered by a fitted sheet, and put babies to sleep in a separate sleep area in the same room next to where you sleep. There are more details at marchofdimes.org. In other health news, you may see better longer if you take important steps to protect your sight. First, get a dilated eye exam. Ask your eye care professional how often. Eat right, manage chronic conditions, and don't smoke. Ask family members about their eye health. Many eye diseases are hereditary. Use protective eyewear when doing chores, playing sports, and working. You can learn more from
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of hundreds of thousands of titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview. Go behind the crime scenes of one of England's most notorious modern murders. In the companion podcast to HBO Max's true crime drama, The Murders at White House Farm, you will hear from those involved in the making of the series and the real-life events on which the drama is based. Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one app.
KHVN AM, K237HD and KKGM AM, K248TS Fort Worth.
Tell your smart device to play the Black Information Network on iHeartRadio. I'm Missy Jordan with BIN News. Now, Reverend Jesse Jackson will turn 84 years old Wednesday. The City of Chicago and Rainbow Push Coalition plan to celebrate his life Saturday, but Reverend Jesse Jackson did not attend the event because he was hospitalized. In a Black Information exclusive interview, Reverend Jackson's son Yusuf explains his father's health condition.
Earlier last week, we detectives, he seemed kind of lethargic at the house, and so we brought him into the Northwestern Hospital for observation. They determined that he had a lung infection. They treated that lung infection for about 5 days. We're still on antibiotics, and his lung infection had cleared, almost cleared to go home yesterday, but it turns out the doctor wanted one more day of observation, and he should be returning home actually today.
That's wonderful. Yusuf also said Reverend Jesse Jackson is expected to make a full recovery. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm Vanessa Tyler on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First. They don't want them here. Yet all the protesting is not changing the mind of the president. Trump is sending in the National Guard to Chicago. In fact, he is federalizing the Illinois National Guard over the objection of Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker, who rejected the takeover. Yet the order is in effect, and the troops on the ground in an effort to fight crime. Sean Diddy Combs forced to settle for a prison bid. The rap mogul did not walk out the courtroom a free man. He even spoke, pleading for leniency before the judge. So did his children. There was also a slickly produced video with his kids, which included all the charitable work he has done. But it is not as bad as it could have been. The 50 months Diddy got was a source of controversy. On the one hand, you have a black man who made it all the way up from nothing, and on the other, a black man, by his own admission, did terrible things. Here is CNN African-American legal analyst, attorney Joey Jackson.
Thinking about how this case began as a racketeering case, wherein he could have spent the rest of his life in jail, a charge for which he was acquitted. Thinking about how racketeering not only takes away your liberty, but could have indeed unraveled everything because of asset forfeiture, taking away all of your money.
In other words, he could have wiped the rap mogul clean. He still has to pay $500,000. Overall, experts say it is the best he could have gotten. The jury did find Diddy guilty of transporting 2 girlfriends across state lines for prostitution, known as the Mann Act.
There are victims here who are railing over this, of course. We need to be sensitive to that. But from all things measured, I think this is a big victory for the defense. He got 4 years. Prosecutors wanted 11.
Ironically, the same day Diddy got his sentence, and what some may consider the trial of this century, 30 years ago to this day, the verdict was in for another high-profile black man in the original trial of the century.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder.
The O.J. trial verdict day shares the same date with Diddy's sentencing day, but in that case, former football great O.J. Simpson left court, headed home for celebration, while Diddy is heading to prison. The body of a beautiful black woman was found in a white man's attic.
We're devastated at this time, and we just ask the public, we ask every person to please keep our family in prayer.
The family of Renia Lewis packed a California courtroom for the arraignment of accused murder suspect Douglas Shaw, whose filthy home was searched after Lewis had been missing for days. Her cell phone pinged to the location where he lived, and the day before her 29th birthday, Vallejo police say they found her hidden and in pieces up in the attic belonging to Douglas Shaw. The 41-year-old was arrested at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, the amusement park where he worked.
My hope for him is that he gets justice.
Douglas Shaw is charged with felony murder. The judge ordered he be held without bail. I'm Vanessa Tyler on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
This is America's Black Voice.
The Black Information Network. DFW's BIN.
From Oak Cliff to Uptown.
The DC comic book and movie franchise Wonder Woman features the story of a beautiful Amazon superhero warrior.
And once I finally destroy Ares, the German army
armies will be free from his influence. But did you know there was also a black Wonder Woman as well? Created by writer Don Heck, her name was Nubia, and she made her comic book debut in 1973 as DC Comics' first black superhero. Similar to Wonder Woman, Nubia has super strength, magical weaponry, and comes from a floating island where her family rules. Wonder Woman and Nubia met for the first time in a special DC Comics issue, and the two battled in combat before becoming friends. In 1975, actress Teresa Graves was scheduled to play a black female superhero in the Wonder Woman TV series that was based on the Nubia character, but the character was never written into the TV script. DC Comics reintroduced Nubia to readers in the early 2000s, and they finally bring her to the big screen in the Wonder Woman movie franchise. And that's a fact. I'm Big Sue for the Black Information Network.
The biggest black news every 30 minutes.
The Black Information Network.
DFW's BIN.
Big D, big stories. I'm Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network. In Texas, relatives are grieving and the Fort Worth Fire Department is investigating after a deadly fire this week. It started at about 4 in the morning. When they got there, an elderly man was outside the home and they found an elderly woman inside the house. They tried life-saving measures, but they could not keep her alive. Black neighbors speaking to NBC5 television say this is a hard one to handle.
That stuff hurt, man. Especially an old couple, people that you look over, watch over, and they watch over you. Especially, you can look at them as your grandparents, man. It's a tragic thing to see. Yeah, man, it's very tragic to see that, man.
The cause of the fire is still being determined. African-American Tyrell Morris, New Orleans' former 911 call center director, has been sentenced to 1 year in state prison. He was convicted last week of abusing his position while trying to cover up his role in crashing a city vehicle. While being accused of impersonating a law enforcement officer, the judge criticized Morris for committing what she called an enormous crime and failing to show remorse up until his sentencing date. Black Orleans Parish DA Jason Williams spoke about that to reporters outside the courthouse.
His own words beg to differ with whether or not he realizes he was wrong here. He used an expletive to describe the judge, which really makes it seem like these 4 days didn't really get attention.
Morris could have gotten 10 years on just one of the charges. He'll also be on probation for 5 years after his release and has to get continuous mental health counseling. He also has to pay a fine and do community service. All right, well, let's check your local news now on your home for Black News First. Dallas's BIN 1630 and 970, the Black Information Network. Dallas area food banks say they expect to see an increase in demand if government were on days to come. This comes as federal funding under the Trump administration has been reduced, which makes it even harder to provide food to needy families. African-American Cheryl Jackson, founder of Minnie's Food Pantry in Plano.
It's a look of disbelief, like I never dreamed I would be in this place and space. Some of them, especially the women, are crying. We're bracing ourselves for what could be happening in the upcoming week.
She tells NBC5 television they expect similar responses as the last government shutdown.
Some of them will tell us that they are government employees, and then others will just know it by the looks upon their faces, by the tears in their eyes.
At Minnie's and other similar food pantries, they say the longer the shutdown lasts, the harder it will be to feed those in need. Well, before the ballots are counted, there is a money war going on between black former Dallas Congressman Colin Allred and State Representative James Talrico, who is reportedly off to a record-breaking fundraising start in his campaign for U.S. Senate. Talrico's campaign says it has raised $6.2 million in 3 weeks since he announced his candidacy, when Allred, also running in the Democratic U.S. Senate primary, announced he's raised $4.1 million in 3 months. Of course, the only tally that really counts is on Election Day. I'm Mike Stevens on your home for Black News First, Dallas's BIN 1630 and 970, the Black Information Network.
Need a vaccine? Get 14 no-cost vaccines with most insurance, like shingles, Hep B, and more at CVS Pharmacy. Weekend and evening appointments available. Schedule today. Restrictions apply, subject to availability. See cvs.com/vaccines for details.
This is Mimi Brown with the Black Information Network, and today I'm speaking with Prashana Scott, a beauty sales coordinator for CVS and licensed esthetician. She's here to share a few of her skincare and beauty routines with us. Prashana, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
I know there are so many men and women of color who want to take better care of their skin. What are your suggestions?
I think it's really important to have a good skin regimen. For me, is as simple as just cleansing, toning, and applying moisturizer, and always ending with the sunscreen during the daytime. Typically what I do hear from Black people is that they feel they don't need to wear SPF because of the melanin in their skin. But for me, wearing sunscreen is very necessary because just the risk of sun damage, it just helps at a minimum to wear sunscreen, at least of like a 30 SPF every day for me, and just reapply it every couple hours. Just to think about it, any dark marks or sunspots that I may have, it can be protected from the sun. So I totally stand by SPF.
You know, I think you touched on it. A lot of Black people don't think we need SPF. I've heard it so many times, and I think we're hearing it more and more, though, about the importance, no matter the race or color of your skin, about wearing sunscreen when outdoors.
From what I've learned, our melanin only has a very small percentage of SPF, so I am consistently applying sunscreen for extra protection, as well as wearing a hat because I have gotten sunburned before as a Black person.
Absolutely, such good advice. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your skincare routine. Prashana, it's been a pleasure having you with us today here on the Black Information Network.
Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Black man, invest in yourself. Rest, reflect, and reach out, because a strong mind builds a better future for you and your community. Learn more at 988lifeline.org. 5 years of amplifying stories that matter.
The Black Information Network. DFW's BIN.
Loud, local, locked in.
Can Democrats get health care funded?
We're fighting for individuals to maintain their right to health care. Point blank, period.
Or will Republicans find the votes needed to pass a spending measure?
People say, why aren't you negotiating with Schumer and Jeffries? Because I quite literally have nothing to negotiate.
The effects of a government shutdown.
A TSA spokesperson said the agents are prepared to continue screening 2.5 million passengers, but warned that an extended shutdown could result in longer wait times.
Are on the Black Information Network.
For many Black parents, like Celeste Lanier, making sure their children's immunizations are up to date is an important part of their lives.
My son was a micro-preemie, so he was born 3 months early, and in his early years, anything he got 3 times worse. And so protecting him was one piece of it, protecting others was another component.
Lanier lives in the Houston area with her husband and 2 school-aged children who are 14 and 8 years old. She says recent events have given her renewed appreciation for the protection vaccines offer against harmful diseases.
I never thought that much about it until COVID. When you saw how something could sweep through a community so easily, made me think a lot more about the importance of their other vaccines, and even how we're starting to see diseases or things that we thought had gone away resurfacing because too many people are not vaccinating.
Statistics show fewer children were vaccinated coming out of the COVID pandemic than before. Some medical experts say that decline may be part of the reason for a recent uptick in measles cases in some states. Lanier says she understands the doubt some Black parents may have about vaccinating their children, as her husband also once had concerns.
I think there's a lot of misinformation sometimes about vaccination, so I think that's where some of it was coming from. And also, any of the things that were suggested as potential risks were outweighed by the benefits.
And those benefits extend beyond individual households.
When we have too many in the community that opt out, they're really putting a burden on the rest of us who are being compliant. And when you have a child that might be high risk for whatever reason, sometimes they're not in a position to get those vaccinations if they're too young or they have health risks. And so it's important that those around us who are strong and able to do that and take responsibility for the group.
That kind of community-focused commitment to getting vaccinations further protects the health of the Black community and makes getting vaccines worthy of being a regular part of our children's lives. I'm Andrea Coleman on the Black Information Network.
Headlines every 30 minutes. Breaking news at once.
The Black Information Network.
DFW BIN.
DFW Voices.
Here's what's trending this hour. The U.S. Treasury has unveiled a draft for a $1 coin featuring President Trump for America's 250th birthday. The The front of the coin has a side profile of Trump along with Liberty and God We Trust. The tail side depicts Trump with a raised fist in front of a U.S. flag, similar to the picture taken in the aftermath of the assassination attempts on him in Butler, Pennsylvania. More information about the coin is expected once the government shutdown is over. I'm Misty Jordan, and that was trending.
Sports on the Black Information Network. In Major League Baseball, the Los Angeles Angels are beginning the search for a new skipper. 73-year-old manager Ron Washington will not be returning to the team's dugout next season. The African-American manager missed more than half of the 2025 season after undergoing heart surgery. Only 2 of the 30 MLB teams have a black manager. The W is adding another broadcast partner next.